Well, we need to focus on what the objective is. You know, your question about the first three questions you would ask in the Situation Room, I think it is a problem if the President and Commander-in-Chief we've elected does not have the experience and background to understand the threats facing this country coming in on day one. If you look at the threats facing this country, the single gravest threat, national security threat, is the threat of a nuclear Iran. That's why I pledged on day one to rip to shreds this Iranian nuclear deal. And anyone that thinks you can negotiate with Khamenei does not understand the nature of Khamenei. When it comes to ISIS, we've got to have a focused objective. One of the problems of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's foreign policy, and sadly, too many establishment Republicans in Washington, is they focus on issues unrelated to protecting this country. They focus on nation building. They focus on toppling governments to promote democracy, and it ends up undermining our national security. Now, with regard to ISIS, we need a commander-in-chief that sets the objective. We will utterly defeat them because they have declared war. They've declared jihad on us. Now, what do we need to carry that out? We need overwhelming air power. We need to arm the Kurds who can be our boots on the ground. And if ground troops are necessary, then we should employ them. But it shouldn't be politicians demonstrating political toughness. It should be military expert judgment carrying out the objective set out by the Commander-in-Chief.
Just very quickly, 30-second follow-up. You said that essentially the Kurds would be the American ground forces in there. The criticism that experts have on that is that the Kurds only can work within their territory. If they take larger amounts of territory, you have an ethnic war with the Arabs. So the Kurds can't really do as much as you seem to be putting on their backs.
We have Kurds in both Iraq and Syria. They are fighting ISIS right now. They are winning victories right now. ISIS is using American military equipment they've seized in Iraq. And the Obama administration refuses to arm the Kurds, the Peshmerga, the fighting forces who've been longtime allies. We ought to be arming them and letting them fight. Now, if we need to embed special forces to direct our overwhelming air power, if it is required to use ground troops to defeat ISIS, we should use them, but we ought to start with using our incredible air power advantage. The first Persian Gulf War, we launched 1,100 air attacks a day. Today, we're launching between 15 and 30. We're not using the tools we have, and it's because the Commander-in-Chief is not focused on defeating the enemy.
All right, Mr. Trump.